Faron Woods, home to the dragon Faroche, some ancient ruins, and the mightiest bananas you ever did see. This area was and continues to be one of my favorites to explore, right up there with Hydrol Castle. So where in the world should you go if you want to explore your own Faron Woods? Well, let's take a look. Just like last time, we're going to start with the geography first. Certain characteristics of the land stick out immediately. The large expanse of foliage, waterfalls that turn into rivers, and red tabletop mountains. But let's break this all down, starting with the topography. Now the whole area is mountainous, but if you look around, you'll notice some things that may seem familiar if you watched the last video. When we went over Gerudo, we talked about some things called buttes. And would you look over there? Seems like a perfectly normal butte to... I'm sorry you had to see that. I could have sworn that was a butte, not a... Anyways, it might actually be a good thing that happened, because while these could technically be classified as buttes, they could also be classified as something known as a tepi, or tepue, depending on your pronunciation and what part in the world you're from. And if you're thinking you have no idea what that is, I'm willing to bet you actually do. You know where Carl's house ended up in... up? Well, that's a tepue. Another feature of note is all the waterfalls. Part of the terrain has led to the formation of these, and they're not your run-of-the-mill snowmelt waterfalls. These are huge, wide falls with tons of water cascading. Oh. Well, I mean, they're wide. While it may just be a thin sheet of water falling down, these are still some impressive falls. And they lead into a few rivers that are dragging their way through the terrain. Sorry about that. Back to it, where were we? So this place isn't lacking on interesting terrain or water, and it definitely isn't lacking on foliage either. Now, although foliage wasn't too helpful in our guessing in the last episode, because it will be useful this time, specifically the trees. So while you may not be obsessed with all my forest expertise, let's talk about these trees. A quick glance shows they're palm trees, most likely Sylvester or Camry, just based off of the shape and size. There's also what looks to be mangrove trees holding up this bridge, and I think that'll just about do it for the geography section. Before we look at where this relates to the real world, let's take a look at the climate. Now for climate, we'll use the same classification system that we used last time, which was Köppen's. This system looks at different shared characteristics of places around the world to group them into 5 sets. They are tropical, dry, temperate, continental, and polar. Right off the bat, tropical sounds like it's going to be the winner here, but let's look at them all just the same. And the best way to start is to focus on the temperature. Using that, we can best identify what category to start in. So after walking, and gliding, around Faron for a bit, I found out the ranges for the day to be around 60 to 99 degrees Fahrenheit, and the night ranges from about 56 to 98 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can tell, our ranges are very similar and fairly high. So let's work backwards. Polar's cutoff is nowhere near our range, and honestly, did anybody think it was going to be polar? Continental requires sub 32 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures, so that's out. Temperate is the first to come relatively close. While the game doesn't have months, the ranges we're dealing with would give us that second criteria. Unfortunately, the first one is a bit too low. Dry is characterized by little precipitation, which Faron does not struggle with, so that just leaves tropical. With a required average of above 65 degrees Fahrenheit and lots of precipitation, it fits well, as expected. Looking at a map of the tropical region, regardless of their subcategory, we can see that they lie mostly between the, tropics. The Tropic of Cancer in the north and Capricorn in the south. The significance of these being that anywhere between them, the sun could be directly overhead, resulting in the higher averages, since more direct sunlight equals more intense sunlight. And they're both named after constellations that they were under when they were christened. So Cancer got its name after, this crab, presumably. And Capricorn after a goat? Wait, why is that exactly? Anyways, back to business. So knowing it's somewhere between here can really help us pinpoint its physical location. But let's go one step further and look at the subcategories. We have rainforest, monsoon, wet and dry, and savanna. So let's go ahead and get to know these categories a little bit better on the category dating game. Alright, Tropical, you have 4 eligible subcategories here. Go ahead and ask away. Hi, yeah, contestant 1, tell me about yourself. Well, I cry a lot, like at least 60 millimeters a month. Oh, Anything else? No, that's my whole personality. Okay. Contestant 2.
How do trees romance each other?
Can I have another question? No. Well, probably not by crying as much as contestant 1. Okay, wow, thanks. Contestant 3, why should I pick you? Hey, my name's Kevin, I came here with my brother. Hey, Mom! Do contestant 3 and 4 matter? No, they were just part of the group and we didn't want them to feel left out. Now it's time for our category to pick our winner. I pick contestant 1. This is a really stupid bit and I don't know how to end it. So why did contestant Rainforest win? Well, starting off with the least likely picks, Dry and Wet / Savannah are basically the same class. They both have the least amount of rain, and since Faron has some of the most in all of Hydrol, it just didn't make sense. As for Monsoon, that region has fairly distinct dry and wet seasons, which this version of Faron that we get to experience in-game doesn't. That really just leaves Rainforest. But one other thing I considered was that they tend to have low variation between their day and nighttime temperatures. Faron has both a large amount of precipitation, unfortunately, and low day and nighttime temperature variance. So its climate class, according to me, is AF. I know there's a joke in there somewhere, I'm just too tired to make it after editing that awful dating game bit. So let's take a look at all that we've gathered and see where Faron would be. From the geography, we have tepuis, rivers, palm trees, and waterfalls. And a region that has all of these features and falls within the AF class type is located right in southern Venezuela. Specifically, an area known as La Gran Sabana. I really encourage you to look up this beautiful area and see if you agree with me, because I don't want to get copyright claimed for any of these pictures. But Venezuela as a whole is famous for its tepuis, and La Gran Sabana is no different. It also has rivers, one of which is actually part of its western border, and it includes a native palm tree, known as the Moriche palm, which looks similar in shape and size, being able to grow up to 114 feet tall. So I feel pretty confident saying that's where it would be. La Gran Sabana is pretty small, especially on this map, so I'm just going to say that if you want to visit Faron Woods, southern Venezuela and a portion of northern Brazil is the place to be. And I think that just about does it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Let me know if you agree or if you think it should be somewhere else. I think I might take a break from the Zelda franchise for a bit and explore a different video games region to try and figure out where it would be. If you have one in particular you want me to look at, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Otherwise, I hope to catch you guys in the next video.